Hi friends, this is Lori Buelow. So what did you think of the debate last night? There truly was a contrast between the two candidates. One is a very deceiving and manipulative, smug character. I saw a drive and destination to reach one's goals of carrying the name to the top of the chain. That candidate, a very vicious and evil spirit who cares nothing for the citizens of this country, but tries to talk the talk to make one believe that the candidate is reaching out to the public and really has a concern to improve the country and help the middle class and the poor and destitute. This country has had the opportunity, this candidate, I should say, has had the opportunity to improve and bring about a positive change to the citizens, especially in the inner cities. The sad thing, however, is that those living in those areas remain in the same conditions as each decade passes by, yet those promises of improvement continue their cycle of fine words and fair speech as every 4 years comes around. Many have awakened to this lie that they use, yet many are still in a state of slumber, and sadly it is because by their own will they choose to remain this way through willful ignorance. The most important question to ask is, what improvements have come your way to your town in the past almost 8 years? Are you thriving? Are you enjoying liberty and freedom and the pursuit of happiness? Are your children in fine schools being taught by the right education, or are they being dumbed down by a curriculum that does not help them to advance or even learn the basic history of their culture and country? Are they being forced to participate in something that may intimidate them and have a detrimental effect on them in the future? This is, I think, one of the most important questions you as a parent need to ponder about what your children are being forced into and the curriculum they're being taught. Why hasn't there been improvement to help law enforcement to protect and defend innocent citizens? Why has the law and order disappeared, and why do politicians and this current Justice Department continue to stoke the flames of civil unrest and chaos? Why aren't they doing anything to contribute to help and improve situations instead of stoking more fire and flames to an already burning fire? This is a question you as a citizen must come to recognize and ask yourself. If you haven't gotten it by now, friends, if you have not seen the effects of a broken and run-down society, and if you are not able to understand that society, at least here in this country, has intentionally, and I'll say it again, intentionally been torn apart and broken down by bureaucrats and politicians that have only one goal in mind, and that goal is not for you, not the individual citizen, but it is only for their advancement of those individuals, their goals, their greed, and their power. They talk the talk. They put on their smug smiles and use deception and manipulation as a front, pretending to care about you and want the best for you, yet you are in fact meaningless to them. It's time you understand this, friends. You are nothing more than a useless eater and someone they can use to fan the flames to get them where they want to be. They use the citizens as a pawn to advance their own goals and agenda. So I ask you once again, what have you got so far these last almost 8 years? And this is something you need to ask yourself. This is something you need to recognize. And don't turn away. Don't turn away from this and think that there is going to be improvement by this particular candidate. This is what the liberal Democrats and some Republicans promise you. Now and for the future, nothing more than a life of twisted lies, deception, and bondage. So have at it, friends, if this is what you freely choose. Truth is uncomfortable at times, I know, but better to be uncomfortable and know and learn and hopefully improve from that painful situation that you've gone through or remain nothing more than a pawn to be used by liars and manipulators and remain in that state as each decade passes. It's very plain to see that the other candidate, on the other hand, truly does have a heart, who loves this country, who wants to improve the twisted mess it has become. This candidate is like a bull in a china cabinet. He is fearless, yet his heart is as big as gold. I truly believe God has given this candidate his strength and stamina to step out against all odds, against the entire establishment, because he wants to do good and at least try to make the improvements to this country. He doesn't need the prestige. He doesn't need the money, friends. He wants to help America, and this candidate is hated by the establishment and all those who have become their puppets and do their bidding. Keep in mind, no one is perfect but one, and that is Jesus Christ. But I do believe Donald Trump is in fact the instrument that God is using to do his work. I believe God has put Donald Trump in the position he's in, and that he is the instrument being used for God's purpose. I believe God has given Donald Trump his wealth so that he has been able to advance him for his goals. God's goals I'm talking about for this present time, right now, today, friends. If you have any discernment whatsoever, it is plain to see that Donald Trump has a big heart and wants to lead America down the right path. He wants to do his part to make those improvements that so desperately are needed. As I said, God has placed that big heart in him for love of his country, and once again, he is like a bull in a china cabinet, meaning God has given him his courageous and fearless spirit, yet he has a big heart and a very gentle heart and loves his country and wants to help the citizens of this country. Those other politicians, I should say, have been used as instruments to carry out those plans to tear down, destroy, and wreak havoc throughout the land, turning this country upside down to advance their wrecked and evil agenda, as they have dumbed down the citizens with their fair speech, but working their evil plans and desires behind the scenes. What have you got to lose, friends? Either choose a better and brighter way, or stay in the same area that you're at and become nothing more than a pawn to continually be used by the establishment and a slave to the elitists, and let them advance and you stay where you are and remain in that state as each generation goes by, no doubt. I hope you make the right choice this election day, and if not for yourself, at least think of your children. This is Lori Buelow.